So, a friendly reminder that Democrats in the House of Representatives passed a massive coronavirus relief package with extended and expanded unemployment benefits, another round of stimulus checks, small business loans, voting protections, and other important infrastructure and protections in May, and has just been sitting on Mitch McConnell's desk in the Senate ever since then. So when you see stories about gridlock in Washington or Democrats and Republicans can't negotiate a deal, remember that one person is blocking 275 plus bills, including coronavirus relief, and the only way we will able to even rename a fucking post office in 2021 is if we get him out of office. But here's the good news, according to Act Blue. Mitch could lose his job this November. Not only is he up for re-election, but more importantly, the Republican Party is defending Yellow Jacket. The Republican Party is defending 22 Senate seats, and they only control the Senate by 3 seats. That's a great thing for us. This is a reminder that the House of Representatives and Congress both represent the legislative branches of the government. So we can talk shit about the president all we want to. Yeah, they're a problem. But they only sign off on the legislation that Congress and the House pushes through to them. That means our representatives, our senators, are actually the ones putting together the laws that govern all of our lives. So, here are the top Senate races where you can either choose to donate if you're not living there physically and can't vote in these states, or if you're a citizen and resident in any of these states, you actually have a chance to make a difference in who controls the House, the Senate, or the Republicans. And then also, if Mitch McConnell is still going to have his job next year, which, for all of our sakes, he really doesn't need to. These states include Colorado, Maine, North Carolina, Montana, Iowa, Georgia, where both seats are up for grabs, Alabama, Michigan, Alaska, South Carolina, Texas, and Kansas. So Act Blue, the company that provided all this information, or not a company, they're an organization, is raising money to fund campaigns to get a Democratic majority back in Senate this November. You can help tip these scales by sending them over just a few bucks, if you have it to spare. The closeout today. The powers that be don't want us to realize our power and strength we have in community and in numbers. The Black American population has a collective spending power of $1 trillion. I'm not making that up. I believe for a year, how much we spend on food alone adds up to about $1 million annually. And most of that stuff is going to fast food places. Most of our money that we spend in our everyday life is going to big box corporations like Amazon and Walmart, places that we don't own and therefore have no power in what they choose to do with that money. And believe it or not, a lot of that money is going into those same laws and legislation that we were talking about earlier that affect all of us. Just imagine how loud our collective voice would be if we bought black. And if we bought black, then more black businesses would be able to stay afloat, and it would just continue to increase our voting power and our speaking power here in this country. Imagine if we took away all that money, that $1 trillion, that we're putting into the pockets of corporations that can afford to lobby their way towards legislation that boosts their bottom line and kills us, as a way of scratching the backs of the leftist politicians that help these corporations out. Translation, companies like Walmart, I believe Macy's was one. You should check out the documentary 13th on Netflix for a full list. Are basically buddy-buddy with politicians and these independent organizations that are like boys clubs, where they all meet up so the corporations can talk about what they want out of America, e.g., let's make some legislation that opens up open carry laws in these states. That way we can open more physical retailers in those states with expanded space and sell a lot more guns there. Like when Walmart suddenly started selling firearms all of a sudden in the early 2000s. So by the corporations giving these politicians some money and lobbying, the politicians write up some legislation that makes sure the corporations get what they want, but then they also include sections in there that increase things like mass incarceration and allowing more prisons to be built, or all kinds of other things that have some systemic ramifications for people of color, or just generally Americans when it comes to our ability to survive, our likelihood to be funneled towards prisons, etc., etc. The American young adult population makes up the largest demographic of potential voters right now. Imagine if we were able to agree to disagree on our differences, embrace one another, and unify our voices. We have the potential to be heard this election. What do we want history to remember us saying? This is just another game that we have to learn how to play. And as black folk have proven time and time again, we are competitive as fuck, and we would go full beast mode on your ass. The politics and legislation that control our quality of living and barricade us from exercising our full right to the pursuit of happiness are all part of yet another convoluted game. We're just finally realizing that we don't have to just be the game pawns, helplessly thrown about in the scuffle, but rather we can be the players taking charge. Let's take destiny into our own hands. We're the saviors we've been waiting for, and it's time for you to be the hero of your own story. Today, I ask each and every one of you to do what you can to do the right thing. Be the difference you want to see in the world. Once again, the savior we've all been looking for is inside of each and every single one of us. So check out the links below in the description for more information on the resources I discussed earlier and a few more to keep you informed and acting. First of all, even though Trump is doing everything in his power to make sure we can't vote by mail, the USPS, brilliant boys in blue, are doing everything in their power to keep us informed, to keep us equipped with tools that we can use to vote by mail. So they've actually put together this election mail kit that has very comprehensive information on how to vote by mail this year, everything you need to do to get prepared. And as we mentioned before, we can not only elect the president of the United States this November, but also right now, special elections are going on for key legislators in Congress. Check out that link. It's not too late to request your absentee ballots for your local elections. So Run for Something has provided more information to keep voters educated. Make sure to check that out if you have any questions about what you can do to participate safely in elections this year. And we are also providing a link to some voting resources to check on your voter registration status, update your info if you've moved and didn't realize that it doesn't just automatically update for you. You can go ahead and request an absentee ballot there, and pretty much just get everything you need to vote in the elections. So I just want to tell everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. You're all beautiful human beings. As always, don't forget to dream out loud so we can break the silence with some noise. Take care.